The state's jobs crisis has deepened, with fears the closure of a major energy company will result in significant job losses before Christmas. Shock has given way to anger as communities in the state's north demand to be supported to be the same extent as Holden workers in the city.
Reality has sunk in.
Alinta has let their staff down, their people down, and the communities which have supported them for 50 years down.
440 jobs axed when the company winds up its Port Augusta power station and Lee Creek coal mine. Yesterday, the closure date was brought forward 15 years to next March. Today, fears it could be even sooner for some.
There's so much coal stockpiled in Lee Creek, they reckon they'll start pulling work back there as early as this year, jobs going before Christmas.
Losing these jobs in Port Augusta and Lee Creek is every bit as important as losing the Holden jobs is in Adelaide. And so we deserve at least as good a response from state and federal governments.
With unemployment at a 14-year high, the Treasurer is under intense pressure to get it right in next week's budget.
It's going to take the Commonwealth budget and the state budget and a confidence boost in the private sector to try and generate job creation, and that's what our budget will be about.
Port Augusta has been confronted with significant job losses before, such as when the railway industry essentially closed in the 1990s. Locals say they will survive this blow too, with green energy replacing brown coal.
All the infrastructure's here. I can see that that's going to be a good alternative for Port Augusta. We can be the guinea pig of Australia and hopefully have a greener Australia overall.
Alinta Energy is obviously not good news, but I guarantee we will bounce back from that as well.
Live now to Rory McLaren at Parliament House. Rory, what's the government's short-term plan to help the region?
Well, Brenton, there are members of the government's task force already on the ground in the state's north at the moment, providing assistance to those communities which are going to be so badly affected by these job losses. Now, on top of that, there's a ministerial visit planned for Monday involving Kiam Ma and also Jeff Brock. Now, they'll be meeting Alinta workers in Lee Creek first thing on Monday morning before making their way to Port Augusta in the afternoon. Now, as for the Premier, he's not expected to travel on Monday to Port Augusta and Lee Creek. However, we do understand he is planning a tour of his own to Port Augusta and Lee Creek by the end of the month. Brenton?
Thank you, Rory. And hundreds more South Australians in the state's far north face losing their jobs, businesses and their homes when Alinta ceases its coal mining operations. Many at Lee Creek fear they'll have to move as soon as Christmas, including some who've called the town home for half a century.
These are some of the locals who depend on Alinta's Lee Creek coal mine for their survival.
They could come to me at Christmas and say, sorry, move on.
Brayton Ward has lived at Lee Creek for 45 years and has run the town's only petrol station for more than half that time. He and his wife and 4 children fear they'll have to pack up their lives and move on when the coal mine he used to work for closes more than a decade earlier than expected, and with job shedding possibly before Christmas.
I don't know whether the town will keep going, like whether they, I guess I'll walk out, don't know.
Concerns shared by Desley Wardell, who's run the town's supermarket for 41 years.
We send food to Inaminka, Maree, Arkaroola, Nepabunna. The whole community will suffer.
If you need any more proof of how much this announcement has taken locals by surprise, you only need to look at this sign at the town's entrance. It was only installed a few weeks ago, and now locals fear it's spruiking services that won't be here much longer. A few kilometres down the road, Copley residents also rely on Lee Creek's shops and the town's clientele. The pub has been there since the 1880s.
We just have to reassess every month and make some decisions. Banking, things like that, we lose all that.
The minister spruiking the creation of 1,000 jobs in the city, leaving little doubt the future of these rural communities is bleak.
Coal-fired generation, quite frankly, is an industry that is dying across the world.
In Lee Creek, Eddie Godfrey, 9 News.